want to tell you just a little bit about me. I grew up in Unity, and I live just north of Unity Village, where I attended Christ Church Unity in Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Unfortunately, it's no longer there. But over the years, I've worked with ministries as large as 5,000 members and as small as 30. And I've learned that spiritual community is powerful in every form. So today I serve as the Director of Operations, Events, and People Services for Centers for Spiritual Living International Offices. But I also run my own business called Soulful Consulting, where I partner with New Thought Ministries across the country. And as Reverend Richard mentioned, most of our churches are small and ministers wear all the hats. So my job is to take the behind the scenes work so that ministers can focus on people and principles. I handle administration, communications, design, operations, board support, basically everything except finance. You do not want me touching your money. Thankfully, we have someone for that. And if you need someone for that, I can recommend someone. Through this work, I currently contract with Unity of Davis, where I support administration and communication specifically. And this is my ministry. This is what I love to do. I love helping ministries stay organized, visible, and connected so we can change lives. Today, I want to just give you an overview of how our administration and communications help a virtual ministry thrive. And I'll be sharing some tools and systems and resources that make a difference. And we won't have time, obviously, to dive into all the details or every process we use. But my hope is that this gives you some ideas that you can bring back to your own community and maybe even spark a new inspiration for what's possible in your ministry. So, virtual ministry. It isn't live streaming. People think that all the time. Oh, we'll just live stream and it'll be great. And live streaming is fine, but virtual ministry is different. And so it isn't the way we've always done church. And you've all heard this phrase, not your grandma's church. Or for those of us in the South, we like to say it ain't your meemaw's church neither. Because if Meemaw ran it, you'd be getting handwritten bulletins and announcements shouted over the potluck. But this is something new, and it causes us to think differently about how we create spiritual community. I also have a story. My story is about Christina. It's one of my favorite examples because Christina lives in Washington State, and Unity of Davis is from Davis, California originally. And a bulk of our members are still there. And when she first attended, she was very quiet. She did not participate in our chats. She really didn't engage much at all. But over time, through consistent communication and invitations, she began showing up more. She joined classes. She now is one of the first people to log in on Sunday mornings. And then one day out of the blue, she said, I love our church, not the church. Not this church, but our church. That really struck me because from someone who was just really quiet behind the scenes to owning it and loving it and exclaiming that for the rest of everyone to hear, I thought was a powerful example of what virtual ministry can do. So today, Christina is a pledging member, and that is the power of virtual ministry. Our systems and our communications create the space, and the messages touch her heart. And again, Reverend Richard said this is just one story. We've seen this pattern repeated again and again when the right pieces are in place. So let's talk a little bit about administration. I know it doesn't sound exciting to everyone, but I think it can be kind of fun. It is the backbone of virtual ministry. And when behind the scenes work is done well, everything else can run smoothly and the minister then doesn't have to carry it all. So, Meemaw didn't need a spreadsheet. She just knew who was bringing the Jello salad. But for the rest of us, roles and checklists can help. And these are a few tools and systems that we use at Unity of Davis. So we have a weekly service planning sheet so that the minister, the music director, the tech team, the volunteers, we're all on the same page. We use shared drives so that the board or the staff can find what they need. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to dig through your emails to find that file that somebody emailed to you that you needed. Well, we don't have to do that. We just go to the shared drive and there it is. We have clear volunteer roles so people know exactly where they fit and they can offer their gifts with confidence. We track attendance and follow up with visitors. And it isn't about numbers for us. It's about making sure that no one slips through the cracks. And then, of course, a good database, which isn't just about storage. It's a tool that we use for relationship building. And I'll come back to that in a little bit when we talk more about resources. But many of these tools are simple, but they can really change how your team functions from week to week. And then once you have these systems in place, communication comes in place, and it's the next layer. In a virtual world, clarity and consistency really are everything. So I like to think of it this way. Your website is your external front door. It should be clear, it should be simple, it should be welcoming. And then you have social media, which is like your bulletin board in the lobby. It's casual, it's visible, but it's not overwhelming. And then you have your e-newsletter, which is your internal conversation with your community, keeping members updated and connected week by week. And so I'm going to dive a little bit into websites because that's usually how people find you first. And it's a big part of what we do. Once you have your communications flowing, those pieces I just talked about, the next piece is really how it looks and how it feels. Visual design is what ties it all together, and you want to keep it simple, welcoming, and designed for seekers. Now, here's the truth. A lot of churches treat their website like the junk drawer at Mima's house. It is filled with everything. You've got committee notes in there, board minutes, you got calendars. These things might be important to members, but that can confuse visitors. Things that matter internally, but they really overwhelm the newcomer. So imagine this, like you're going to a church for the first time and you walk through the front door, and instead of really feeling this warm welcome, you get all of these things thrusted at you. Here's a pamphlet, a flyer, announcements, even meeting minutes. It can be overwhelming. And that's exactly what it feels like when a website is cluttered with information that is not designed for newcomers. And this matters because if you're like me, you're one of those 97% who use the web to find local organizations and businesses and churches. 80% of people check a church website before they even visit it. In one audit, 20 to 30% were only looking for contact information, so they may not even get past your homepage. And 75% of people judge the credibility of your church based on your website. I can't tell you how many times Reverend Richard and I said, oh, we've heard of this great minister, we'd love to book them. And so I go online to try to find their contact information, and I can't find it. And so if we struggle, imagine how seekers, people who are looking for a congregation, feel. The first impressions do matter. But the good news is that a strong virtual ministry does not have to be expensive. There are so many tools available with that. Many are low cost or free. And I'm going to talk a little bit about resources now and share with you my top resources. These are things that I use almost daily. So Canva is my number one. It's my go-to. Now, it does have a free account, but it also has a pro account. And if you've not signed, someone at your church has not signed up for it, they should, because churches can get the free pro account. The pro account for free. And it's perfect for graphics. And so be sure to sign up to get that. And then Unsplash, Pexels, there are a couple of sites that offer free high quality images. Canva does as well. But go to those places. You can get some great visuals that are also free. Instead of pulling from Google, which Google images can be copyrighted. So, and also they're not as high quality. So I really want to discourage people from using Google for that reason. Google, however, does have Google Workspace, which is also free for nonprofits. So you get professional emails, you get shared drives, you get document storage, and you can even get a simple website all for free. So my business website, soulfulconsulting.org, is a Google site. Now, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's absolutely free. It's a lovely, pretty little site. It does the job, and I don't pay anything for it. So it's a great tool to have. TechSoup is another resource that I would encourage all churches to join. It's free to join, and they offer huge discounts to nonprofits. I was working with one community that was using QuickBooks online, and they were paying over $1,000 a year. And so I immediately got them signed up for TechSoup, and then I had them register for QuickBooks Online through TechSoup, and they ended up paying $80 a year. That was over $1,000 savings a year just by going through TechSoup. I recommend that you always use TechSoup and check it before you purchase any programs, or go through your programs list now that you have and go to TechSoup and see if you can get it there cheaper. Zoom, Constant Contact, all these different programs that you have. Check through TechSoup. Also for technology equipment, laptops, other things that you need, go there first, see if they have it available. And then they also offer trainings, which is a great resource. And then, of course, AI tools. There are free versions, and there also are pro versions that you can pay for. But the free versions can draft a newsletter or brainstorm ideas or generate a graphic when you're stuck. You have to really check for accuracy. I don't know how many graphics I tried to create that had 6 fingers instead of 5, but it does do that a lot. So be sure to check that out. And they don't replace humans, obviously, but they can save time and get you started. And then there are affordable programs that give you discounts like MailChimp or Constant Contact, which are email programs. They do charge, but they can give you a nonprofit discount, or Breeze. And again, as Reverend Richard mentioned before, we are not, I don't get kickback from Breeze for talking about it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but it is a great tool, and we use it for a lot of things. And so using a tool like this will really benefit your community. Breeze doesn't offer nonprofit pricing. It is powerful. It isn't just a database, though. It is a hub. So let's talk a little bit about what it can do. For Breeze, it has really many great features. It has form creation. Now, we have Google Workspace, so we could do forms in Google, but then that information is just there. We have to download it in a spreadsheet, and then what do we do with it? So in Breeze, when you use a Breeze form, it automatically puts all of that information into our database automatically, so that it's already there for us to utilize. So that's really a benefit for us. And you're not just collecting information, you're building relationships through using it. The forms look good, they're simple, they're inviting, you can brand them. It also has an events calendar, which keeps everyone aligned. Tags that you can help track and connect with people by interest. Breeze acts as our online membership directory, so members can connect outside of Sunday morning. The members can also see all of their giving records, and they can download their annual statements, which builds trust and transparency, and we don't have to mail anything out. And Breeze lets you send custom emails straight from the system. So some churches, that might mean that you don't want to use MailChimp or Constant Contact and can give that up and don't have to pay for that anymore if you wanted to use something like this with Breeze. So one of my favorite features is they have a text to give at no additional cost. All of our giving goes through Breeze, the Breeze system. This is our slide that we use on Sunday morning. It's our offering slide, and we go through it. We put a link directly in the chat so people can click that to give. We remind them that it's in the e-newsletter every week. If they want to find it there, they can mail a check in, obviously, go to the website, or they can text to give. And that's the number in case anybody wants to use it. That's just scratching the surface. And there are so many ways that a database can serve your ministry. At the end of the day, virtual ministry is not about tools. We all know that. It's about people. It's about creating spaces where someone like Christina can go from a quiet observer to saying with her whole heart, I love our church. The good news is ministers don't have to wear all the hats. When administration, communication, and the spiritual side all work together, ministry shines. And the systems support the mission, the message reaches further, and lives are changed. Y'all, this ain't Mima's church. This is a new expression of spiritual community, one that stretches beyond walls, across miles, and into people's homes and hearts. What I shared today was just a taste. This is a small taste of what we do. There are so many more systems we use and approaches, and we just obviously couldn't cover them in this short amount of time. If you'd like to explore further, my contact info is here, and I'll be glad to put it in the chat as well. So feel free to reach out.